Well, I just hate what's happened to this country. We've gone to a country that's no longer respected. We're in a war that we should have never, and by the way, I'm worse than any hawk there is in terms of military and in terms of defending ourselves. But Saddam Hussein didn't knock down the World Trade Center. He had nothing to do with it. And there were no weapons of mass destruction.
The other day, the head of 3M said that President Obama is anti-business. Do you get the same feeling that he does?
Well, I don't know that it's anti-business or he just really doesn't know exactly what to do. And I'm afraid it probably is the second thing. I don't see him necessarily as anti-business. I think that he is not sophisticated in the ways of business. He hasn't dealt with the people that you've dealt with and that I've dealt with. I deal with China, as an example, a lot. It is never easy. And I've made some very big deals with the Chinese. I've come out on top. I've come out in great shape. I sell apartments to Chinese people. I get along great with them. It's not like, anti-China. I just think it's ridiculous that we allow them to do what they're doing to this country with the manipulation of the currency that you write about and understand, and all of the other things that they do. And frankly, if I were them and if I could get away with it, I take my hat off to them, frankly. They do get away with it. And I hire companies all the time, and it's so hard for our companies to compete against Chinese companies. I mean, these companies have such an advantage, whether it's glass for a curtain wall or whether it's, and you use the term because you know what's happened, sheetrock. I mean, they used to give us sheetrock, just give it. And everybody that was unfortunate enough to use Chinese sheetrock had problems. I mean, problems like where people were dying from it. The good news, Steve, our product is much better, but with the manipulation of their currency, it's very, very, very hard for our companies to compete. But I'll certainly do whatever is necessary and however I can help, whether they want me to make speeches, whether they want me to contribute, raise money, I'll do whatever I have to do. We need somebody great as a president.
Any politician, do you think, has the pulse? Anyone running for president has the pulse of what you know about the economy?
Well, the biggest problem is something I never hear about. I told you about it once. Every time they lower interest rates, the cartel, because I call it a cartel, right, the illegal monopoly raises oil prices, okay? So the monopoly, because that's all it is, it's a total illegal monopoly. If businesses ever formed OPEC, everybody would be put in jail. Here they are, and every time a country hits oil, they're invited in to the cartel, okay? It's a disgrace. So what happens is every time interest rates go down, oil prices go up, and it's the same number. I mean, practically the same money. So they lower it, they raise it, they lower it, they raise it. Now you have oil that's close to 100, going to be over 100, and nobody in this country calls and says, get that damn oil price down. You get it down. But I have to tell you that our country is in serious, serious trouble. We owe $17 trillion our debt. How do you pay off $17 trillion? Nobody ever heard the expression a number of years ago. The word trillion. We have debt that's beyond belief. We have deficits that nobody can even comprehend. China, which I've been talking about for the last 5 years, yesterday, right in our face, they just devalued their currency. Now, for those that don't understand devaluation, what they're basically doing is saying, we're really ripping you big league. Nobody's ever done it better than us, but now we're going to really do it again. And the reason they did it, and everybody was surprised by it, was because our leadership is so weak and so pathetic that they can get away with it. And believe me, they're taking our jobs, and they're taking a big league. And China's not the only one. You look at other countries, they're all doing the same thing. They have no respect for our leader, and frankly, they have no respect any longer for our great country. And it's so simple to solve. What we need is a strong economy. What we need is jobs. Now, you hear these phony job numbers, 6.7%. The 6.7% is probably 21 or 22%, real numbers. When you give up looking for a job, it's like they consider you employed. It's amazing. They changed this. You know, in the old days, if you had people that couldn't find work, they couldn't find work. Today, such a huge number. Now you look at what's going on with Afghanistan. You have Karzai that's treating our president like he doesn't even exist. So they make a deal, and I'm not advocating stay, because frankly, I want to build this country. I want to build these schools. I don't want to build a school in Afghanistan, a road going to the school, watch it get built up and then blown up 4 times, and they keep rebuilding and rebuilding, and you go to Brooklyn, New York, and you can't have schools. You go to Iowa, you can't. You go to wherever you go, and you can't have schools. Because we don't have any money, because we're spending it in other places where, frankly, they don't want us, and I don't want them. And it's amazing.